the fact that Kamala Harris has come into the race, that's a bit of a setback for Trump when it comes to South Asians, particularly the Indian community there, isn't it? As Neha was just saying.
Well, I think we keep lauding about what is America today. I think we've forgotten the fact that America is a place where if you had a chance for 4 billion to come to the United States, they'll come because of opportunity, individual ability to succeed on merits, not because you look different, you are successful intellectually, financially. That's what is rewarded in this great nation, not because you are set in a box, which is what predominantly Democrats and the liberals play with. And I believe that Kamala Harris did not ever identify herself as an Indian American, even when the Indians were kind of raving about her being partly Indian American. She never showed up to the first event they had in Washington, D.C. Only when she realized that she has higher ambitions and she can raise money from the rich, successful Indian Americans, she started quoting them. For the longest time, she never identified herself as Indian American. She was more African American. But that's not here or there. What's more important is President Trump had a very successful leadership in the last 4 years. Not only we had the highest GDP growth in the United States, we've seen the Abraham Accord. We talk about all the disruption. Yes, it's a disruption for the betterment of democracy and one-on-one agreements, both we've had with our neighbors in Mexico and Canada. At the same time, we've also had the Abraham Accord, which none of the papers or media has ever covered because it's the peace in Middle East, which is a big, huge thing between Israel and Gulf nations. That's one aspect of it. Then Sudan. And I think there are more works in place to have peace in the entire region. And of course, his fight against terrorism and also engaging with North Korea. At the same time, strengthening the Quad against China. That's the biggest issue you have to take on, is to really undermine the way China was flexing its muscle, how it was being a rogue on all fronts, from intellectual property to stealing, from undermining our elections. So I think he's taken them on head on that. So I believe that President Trump...
Puneet, just one second. I think I can see a little bit of worry in Neha's expression. Neha, would you like to respond to that?
It's not necessarily worry, right? Our house is on fire here because of President Trump and his actions. We can sit here and say, oh, well, this is great about, Sudan, but what are we actually doing for the United States? There's a large deficit.
Well, you're burning the
this
cities,
country
Neha, I'm sorry to say.
Increasingly divided. There's no representation. And going back to, our community, which is what we're speaking about here, the South Asian community and the Indian American community, Trump just called our country, our homeland, India, filthy 2 weeks ago on national television, right? There's been no trade deals with India. He suspended H-1B applications for Indians to come here, which has been the traditional way for a lot of Indians to come here and grow a life here. It's great to take photo ops and shake hands, but that's not what makes a community. The world is literally watching us today because President Trump has severed treaty partnerships, strategic partnerships. He's allied with dictators and fought with our traditional allies.